Okay, welcome to our episode number 6. And Diana, I have a special guest. It's also our first female guest here at Little House Podcast. Thank you for joining us here today, Jeannie. And can you say a small introduction about yourself?
I'm honored to be here. Thank you. So my name is Jeannie Pelletier. I am one of the people that's running for the chairperson role. I'm from CBHSSJB. My background is nursing and management, so it's equal. 14 years as a nurse and 14 years in management. I served on different committees, like the Parents Committee, for 3 terms. I was also a counselor on CBHSSJB from 2015 to 2019. And then I don't know how I ended up becoming, but I was the chairperson for in Jabot childcare services. So I kind of like to be active in that way. Mm-hmm. So in this one, it was really fueled by wanting to change things and wanting to have a voice and amplifying the voice of our people, not just frontline, but Eeyou. Health belongs to everyone, and it's also my passion. So I spent a lot of time. At the beginning of my career, I was a nurse, like at John Abbott College, there's some people that I know, Sarah Cowboy, Margaret Diamond. I worked with her in the past. And so I did that. And then I went into University of Ottawa. That's where I had my bachelor's of nursing administration. And then at McGill, I did health and social services management. And currently I'm enrolled at UCAT. A lot of the students that are there from Muskangishka. So, yeah, that's a bit my background.
Mm-hmm. So, nurse,
yeah, I still have my license to practice. During COVID, I was called in. Mm-hmm. I worked a little bit more in the background. I helped, and sometimes when there's shortages, severe, like we went to Wabmakshto, there was 3 of us. We're managers. But in Wabmakshto, the plane doesn't land sometimes, or you can't take off. So we ended up on a weekend there in Gawichuyet. Yeah.
Then how many years got school?
All together?
Combined.
I would say 12. 12 years.
That's 6 years in school,
But I think I'm going to be lifelong.
Yeah.
Even I think it's enough. Then I start to get, I miss it.
Yeah.
What number you carry right now?
Human Resources Management. So Charles Hester is one of my classmates. Barbara Nandaminiskasita. There's quite a few from Muskangishka.
I think that's his sister.
That's his sister?
Yeah.
Brenda Hester.
Yeah. I can see. That's Kolonga.
So I was just thinking, you said 14 years as a nurse, 14 years as in the administration, plus your 12 years of your schooling. So that's like 40 years.
I know. I started when I was 7. No, I was actually 17 when I went into nursing.
17?
17.
Then har du ikke studeret?
At Montreal, John Abbott College, yeah.
Raymond's at accounting. That's why he does when somebody like
Yeah, but just Javitsin Ashkeman, you know, some of my classes I did while working, like right now. Maga Javitsin.
Tanega schooling. Oh,
Go ahead.
Tanega schooling Aloha.
Ottawa University of Ottawa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's actually my second home. We have a place there. My son Dawidzo, and we like to go there more than I think Montreal. I prefer it. Easier to drive.
Yeah.
we'll go a little bit off topic.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 52.
52.
Yeah.
Just like Conrad.
I'm not 50, so. So maybe we can just go with the question. Mstitio up then I'd say 28 years at Creole Board as you dine. So if elected, what are your 3 priorities?
So that's a very good question. So if you see the platform, it says reclaim our path. So in GA, it's aligning our worldview. Eeyou Istchee Jajidukchint into how so what how we see a lot and we know a lot. We know what works, and that's the grassroots part. And there's things that are working very well, like for instance, I don't know if you ever heard of Mamuida. You know, it started off as just because they saw an increase in social issues after the move from my Fort George to CBHSSJB. And there was social workers, community workers who decided, okay, maybe people need time to say goodbye to the island. And it was Mamuida Wichtukch at the time. And now after, I don't know how many years, Seshatukchin, probably close to 30, more, 33? 22, he says, but I think it's more. But you see that was like what do you call, almost like a pilot project, very successful. And other communities started it, you know. And so I think there's room for our own worldview. And that's why I call it reclaiming our path. And restoring our health is it's a very holistic term. I would like to demystify it, you know, so people understand what is health. So that's, for me, it's not something, yes, it's complex, but there's very simple things that we could do to be healthy. We were all born healthy, all of us, and we can stay healthy. What changed was the environment. And that's when we started to see the health issues. So it's embedded in the environment. So I'll give you an example. In Chesapeake, we have also the walking club. It's on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. It's consistent. So you can make it a routine. Walking paths. We have a tendency, to school. And, you know, walking is actually a very good way to maintain health. So there's very simple things that we could do. And the other thing is stabilize the workforce. In the health field, we had a migration, not just in Jeannie Istchee, but Quebec, Canada, healthcare workers after COVID. And they wanted more of a, work-life balance in their lives. So I would like to make it more attractive to come to work with us and help board, but also do get Cree people to work, make it accessible for them. I'm very lucky. I felt like I was able to climb, and I'm very loyal to my organizations for that because I had opportunity. Mushin didn't get that opportunity. So I think I would like to give that opportunity to others at this time. We will get. So that's that's a little bit changing the narrative, like rewriting our story. You know, it's not something new for us as Cree people, health. That our ancestors were very healthy, and we can have that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thank you for that. I mean, your plan to reduce diabetes and obesity and snack sick not in again, but I think you in your role you probably see it more in other communities.
Yeah. When you look at the stats of diabetes, the further south in the communities, I could imagine and then you go further up, the numbers start to change. Not that the in the north and just CBHSJB. I remember when I first started nursing, I could count how many people that had diabetes in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have a lot to learn, Nashka, how to manage it. But we have to start early. We have to start early, like how, you know, we have to bring back the ways that our people lived, like the bao chipujmuk, bumped out moves. We have to move. We have to, yes, you know, sometimes poutine gets a very bad rap. I had poutine today, but look at sheesh.
I had KFC today.
You can.
Salad, you mean, Jeannie? That's salad.
That's very good.
Jacob's poutine.
Yeah, and I took a picture of it and I sent it to my kids. We shared it. But we can have it. The problem is not necessarily the poutine. And it's gega achik. And maybe the size can be reduced, you know, instead of having the large, you can have the small. And then make sure you do something after. Obesity, I think sometimes it is correlated, like it goes together. But there is also, the BMI, that's something that they calculate for us. I find it, for our people, they're bigger boned. So I don't think we were meant to be 120 pounds. You know, I think there's a healthy weight for us, but it's not necessarily compared to the South. So I think that we have to work collectively. Like, it's not just Cree Help Board, it's all the leadership. Like, whoever does the town planning, they have to keep that in mind as well. The schools, make sure gym, the classes, even when they're in daycare, just we have to start those habits early. And then, you know, make it like a family thing. Health does not happen just after work. It's not a 9 to 5. After 5, I do something healthy. You could, as an employer, do a wellness hour. You can have treadmills in your I don't know if you work at the Cree School Board or different places, office. I even have in my office, it's a stand-up desk. So nibon man, every hour, I take 10 minutes and even go check the mail, just so I can incorporate walking in my day as much as possible, steps.
Yeah. Yeah, the same admin organizations that have like a little fitness room, band out, and they also have a punching bag. My friend down there upstairs, and then downstairs in the punching bag, you could feel it. Damn higan idea.
Well, that actually is a good idea. I didn't think of that one. But I do have treadmills in our CMC. and we added some like mokshtach, and so it's if somebody doesn't have time to go to the gym, we know we have 15 minutes we can take in the morning and the afternoon, so we can do half an hour on the treadmill
Yeah.
and not have to penalize anybody part of that.
Even last episode talked about mental health and how we play sports helps us mentally too. That's what we talked about. Like I play hockey, and fast pitch. That's I hit how something because I do a lot of stuff with my business and stuff, and being active. That's what really helps me the most.
Yeah.
Movement.
One thing they had too is action programs using there's all sorts of activities you can do. Sign up. I actually took gardening. It was really good because I stare at a computer all day. I write and I use my head a lot, and I don't move a lot. And I thought I need to do something physical with my hands. So the gardening course that I took, like centering me, So right after work, I would go for my gardening course. It was.
So on like gardening where you plant stuff. Like what did you do so far?
I grew potatoes, carrots, peas, lettuce, onions. So I don't mean flowers coming. I did a few flowers. I think they're frozen now because I've been traveling. They're outside on my balcony. But because it's cold, right?
And she means
Not exactly. We didn't. We have to check on them. But it was my first time, and I was impressed. So, and the other thing I took was Asian cooking. And it was really, really relaxing too. And it's part of Myomatsion. Like you're right, the mental, we need to do something that takes our mind off of work. So
Tane provide na
I think it's Brighter Futures, right? Yeah. I
Just
think
a bit.
Yeah. I don't have it, but if you check on I think their page, Brighter Futures, or they have all this, and they have seasonal, so everything changes. Yeah. But I saw in your community too, there's a lot of different things that are being offered.
Yeah.
And what we need to do, I think too, is not just like the band guy elders, the band youth, the band together something. I saw in Wapmokshto they had like a fashion show, and they had in there the elder, the youth, and the baby, and in order to go into that contest, each person had to work, with the parkas and the different things that they had, and they did the fashion show together. So that also promotes connection, and so that's I think answers one of your questions there too. Regarding the social issues. Our families were closer. I know in certain places, they really try to connect. If you concentrate on the family and target the family, the rest, Let's say a youth that's acting out, it usually comes from, the family issues. So you have to not just treat the youth, but the family together. And there's a lot of protective factors in our communities. The gunhinhi, that people do things like I saw you have a gathering place, and they're quite active as well. There was the wellness in Wiminji that I saw, and Quay in the men's groups.
I think you briefly mentioned it. Indeed, after COVID, kay speed, nujay pshti nagdakad indeed in the medical field, and stiana like plan or idea what you wanna do about it.
You know, it literally fell in my lap. We were driving, and I always put things on top of the, sun visor, and I was trying to put it down. Which a copy of the JB and QA section 14, and when I'm driving, well, he's usually my driver, and we're driving, I read a lot. So I'm gonna read it, and there was a section there. I mohiwaj. Like our leaders at the time were visionaries. Like they already saw this coming, and agutnagin how at there is a section where we could leverage. That's at the MSS level, negotiate more, and that's for recruitment and retention. They're leaving us for a reason too. People want to be with their families. So when we recruit, if we know that like the person we want to recruit, they want to bring their family. Even the way that we should like have a fence, where they could do barbecues, so that they live in the community, they stay longer, integrate. Some of your nurses and doctors, the ones that stay, or other health professionals, the ones that are integrated in the community tend to stay longer. So if we find those ones, and our own gogya, we need to invest in our own. It's going to be a while. Like I know there's programs like Magach, but in the meantime, I think this is something that Charles probably could attest to in our course. They were telling us all the postings. If you look, Cree School Board, Cree Health Board, BAN, they all look the same. You post them. So you have to look at something that will attract somebody,
Big Zoni, I guess it goes with this too. Like, I worked with the Eeyou protection for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And every much is with I imagine that when they to another job, or just the stress there. I go at the next week when they had that. It's the workload, and maybe my question is then it's throughout the Cree Nation. With your protection, what I know. Then we each go down your protection.
Those workers are probably the toughest ones. They see a lot. They just like the police and nurses that are frontline. We need to take care of them. It's taking care of a family, and I think what you have to encourage them to take breaks, even organize a retreat for these workers, maybe even 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It's like the mining. Health is an industry too. It's an industry. So time to, like step back.
Yeah, I was at the social gathering last week in Montreal, doing like a former youth protection. Like towards the end, the comments. But when I worked under the youth protection, we didn't get anything like this. Gathering, learning the resources, what kind of resources they can use under the psychosocial.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's something we need to learn, and I think this generation is teaching us a lot. Like the last thing about the millennials, they're very, very conscious of their mental health. They want a balance in their life, and work is something different now for them. And I think we have to change the way we look at it. We work, and go home, and it's not really a great life, especially if you don't have, you need to have, especially after an incident, a debriefing. because I speech in the community. It's like on like in Chisasibi we had I youth violence. There were stabbings. It was just like an emotional earthquake. Just like after an earthquake, there is like a aftershocks. First, you feel it as a mom, as a grandmother. It hits you, so you have to deal with that too. Jeannie, you have to take care of yourself. You must have heard that, eh? In order to take care of others, you need to take care of yourself. So Augen, it's really important. Now we're learning more about that and how to be that way. So I think it's very important that there's a regular in the workplace. Augen, you bring in somebody. Doesn't matter Dandaka or Chibit. It could be a psychologist. It could be an elder. It could be even like a social worker. Moving on, like I had next Sonio, and it could be like a sharing circle. And and that kind of work. So I think that's how people last long. They found a way. I got like to keep themselves healthy.
Ayangi I hit. Nanamzi and Ashwim Jedul that are studying in the medical field, but do you have like a way or a plan where you can encourage even more people to get into Cree, like nursing, to be a doctor or even like a health professional yet?
So I think regularly, we have to start early planting those seeds. Very fortunate guy. We had a hospital. That's how I had that idea. I think I was about 15, secondary 4, thinking, Stengi Davidson. And somebody from HR came and gave us a tour, and we looked at the facility, and then we were able to ask questions, to the nurses and doctors. And then there was a lot of accompaniment at the time. I James Bobbish, Peter Atkinson, Minjidao, and when we left to go take our course. And I remember they were checking in on us, how we're doing, and it was really supportive. And I think if it wasn't for that, I would not be like where I am, because it was hard, the transition. Now I think there's a possibility, in community because of technology. We can leverage technology to they can do their courses. There's a lot of there's physics, there's chemistry, there's math, and biology. You could do that here in community, and the rest you could do over there. So if I had a mentor, at the time that Abaji said, okay, Jeannie, you could maybe become a doctor, and I could help you along that. And now we do have, like, there's Darling Kitty, Dr. Kevin Brousseau, there's another one, Wesley Cote, Dowjosh Nanamjim Sheshim Chadoch. And they probably could, make sure that those courses are available too in the Cree School Board. It's going to be like all the entities that need to also make sure that we have more and more professionals. And I think we are there. We're getting there, because there is a course. I don't know if you know, there's nursing students. Your mom was one of them, I think.
Yeah, my mom went to a Shibugumu.
It's not an easy journey. Like, you don't, there's times like it doesn't go, like, it's not a straight line, and things happen. But as long as somebody always checks in and says, okay, it's hard now, but it's just a hard day, just take it easy, and you're mean Gigi and
I mean, Sema that recently went to med school, I think. She's around my age. I don't know if you know her. Lyric Moses. So
oh, I've heard, yeah, I saw.
Anthony Moses. That's sana. Yeah, they can. I mean,
That was really great what they did in her community, and
yeah.
and they recognized her, and that support is there, and I think I'm very optimistic, and I know even we need more maybe in-house, like within the health board, more trainings, not just the medical, but the support staff. We would not be where, like, we need the medical secretaries, we need the administrative help, we need like the clinic. When you go to a clinic, the first thing you do is you look around to see if it's clean, and so it's important that we have those people too, and that we support them. They help.
I think if I elected, yeah, would you consider having more like conferences or train good, just like a social gathering amongst many people in the organization?
That's actually what came to mind. Like, there's a health conference that's being planned. I think it's going to be held in Chesapeake. I think it's important to do, like, now we're divided by poles. Like, there's the inland, you're the southern, and we're the northern. I think it's important to do one in each, because you have a different, we're the same, but there's slight differences. So I would love, because I learn a lot. Like, yes, I know about health, but it's by people sharing their stories, their health stories, their challenges, that I learned too. That I think and this is where I think we can get better services if we listen more to the people and what they want. I think it'll be an open area. That's what I mean by transparent. I think when we're talking about health, it shouldn't be just like top people deciding what it should look like. Community members should be invited. And like, if I was holding a board meeting, I would invite the community to be part of it as observers, or if they can ask questions.
I mean, our question. There's going to be there's 50th anniversary for the JB and QA coming up, and is there going to be like renegotiations? Is it going to be a review or?
Well, I think there's room. Like I told you, that section.
Yeah.
I don't think we leveraged it to the max. I know we're getting new buildings, and that's wonderful. Like, those buildings are going to be so needed, but we need to staff them too, and we need people. So it's going to be important, and when we're sitting down, the MSSS, because right now the way they calculate our resources, it's just like if we were, the same as our health was the same as Quebec, but our health is different. Like diabetes, the mental health issues, speech, so there's a health gap in between. We need to, lower that. This is where I think we can. There's calculations that can be done very easily. We need to address that. Why is it like that? And I think Quebec has a responsibility. That's what it says there, to make sure that we have the resources we need. And this is where we need our leadership too. In each community, the board of directors, but also they're there for the people. We are serving the same people, and they also have a responsibility. And also our Cree doctors. I don't know if you ever saw that. There was one time a Cree doctor, a guy, Bella, Darling Kitty. She went into, I think it's the Assemblée Nationale with an eagle feather. And there was a Bill 20 dealing with primary care services. And the one that the health minister at the time said that, I think Dr. Barrett said that he would adjust to our reality. Eagle feather. You saw him change, and so he said that Bill 20 would adapt to us. So I think I'm going to be able to charge again.
I agree. Within the JB and QA, health is section 14. Yeah, like if you had the chance to change something or add something, what would you add?
I think it was pretty, I'm still amazed how complete it is. Like when I say they were visionaries, and I got by go gauchid na teiteag, and when I read his book, it re-inspires me. And I think a lot of it was there, and maybe we forgot that, it's not just Quebec, there's also federal. And Dawash Gahint that guy and there are gaps somewhere, and I think this is where we need to kind of sit down together. And I don't think it's also at the level of the CNG. We need to what is our understanding? And I think this is where, we need to build the foundation. So we need to, I'm not here to tell, or how organizations how to run their departments and how to run their organizations. But I think we need to sit down to have an understanding, what is health, what do we want, and how can we work together to achieve this for our people.
I agree with Nashka. We're such a big population now, and we're even growing and growing. Each year, as a our own act, Cree Health Act.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. There is that I think they want to indigenize. I think that's the word. There are realities that are not the same. We lack social housing. And that's a social determinant of health too. Education is also. And so when we look at those social determinants of health, there's only a few that actually really we have, as a Cree Health Board, and maybe have an impact. The rest is around us. We know people that have access. So that's something that I would, and I say, Matsin is embedded in the environment.
Based on that, what's the your final comments and how do you with Cree School Board, with Cree the band, and then the do we would seem dog to bring awareness on diabetes on then into that good when drugs out now again. And I know same like Cree Board has those stats. Then the do we would seem the community, the other organizations.
So in one of my my accomplishments, I guess, this model of care is okay. This is right now most of the people where they get access to care is the emergency aid touch. But there is such thing as primary care. Okay, primary care is a lot of prevention. It's making sure you get your regular checkups. So it's family medicine, So Augen, that's what we started in Chisibi. So that model of care, you have a doctor, secretary, PCCR, and a nurse, and they work for you in your family. So Augen Bike, I would like to have that in all. We have it in just has to be a small group. It's a pilot project. Miopio. There's only one phone number you call. Simple. Stats are important. They tell a story, but you have to know what, like wugay spiech and nashket and youth violence. We had to understand what we were dealing with. Just like in COVID, if you remember, we had to identify what is it, and what we're dealing with, and what is the threat. So Augen, it's the same process. And if you remember with COVID, what they told us is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So Augen, we have to look at it in the long term, maybe even 10 years before we're actually going to see, but we have to be invested. And then a good job camino beats it fun. So for me, I would do regular updates, and I would use different people. I would create an advisory group, to understand. That's what I did with the youth violence. I had an intersectoral group. So Cree School Board, Justice, frontline, like the emergency nurses and doctors. We had leadership. Sometimes the thing was, some of them, it was the first time they actually sat together and talked. Somebody said they sent emails. They didn't. Nobody responded to their emails. But when we had that group, just like COVID, it was every Monday, So in our case, it was every Tuesday because Mondays are very busy at youth protection. We couldn't get them in there. So Tuesdays, we met at a certain time each week consistently and just talked about the issue, where we were at. Police sketchy doubt. And we started to get an idea of what we're dealing with and what actions we could take immediately, like curfew, the emergency. They said we need a curfew right now. And then there were medium actions and then long term.
I have a question. I know Cree Health Board is probably the biggest employer in Eeyou Istchee, and I guess I don't know if this is being worked on. I think you would know because with your current role, there is no cultural holidays for the Cree Health Board employees. If you look at the band or CNG or other departments, they have 5 days, I think, cultural leave to practice. Cree Health Board doesn't have that. And another, I guess it's related, on Aboriginal Day, there is no holiday for the Cree Health Board, but on Saint Jean Baptiste, it's a mandatory holiday for all the employees, even for Cree. Nobody's allowed to work. Maybe that it's being worked on, or if not, what would you do?
Yeah, I know that this is something that our staff brings up regularly, especially when those days happen, and the band has these wonderful, days that they have off. Days, like there's days that you want to do, I don't know, a walking out ceremony. There are things I like. People participate as well in different kinds of ceremonies that they would for their spiritual. I think there is room for that because you see in my platform, I was talking about decolonizing. Sometimes we don't see it, we just accept it. But some of these policies that exist are oppressive, and they're triggering to some of our staff too. And I see this as an opportunity to look at it and say, okay, if it's like really Cree Health Board, why can't we have Cree-infused traditional holidays? I think it's a very valid. Right now, I feel like sometimes the system was designed for not for the Cree to be at the helm. It was designed for us to be compliant. So that's what I think it's time to change that. And that's why I wrote Rewrite the Story, change the narrative.
Like oftentimes I see people on Facebook, about Cree patient services ay nga daw Montreal di chogno daw espresso ay nga daw hotel. Yeah, and like it's got like, do you ever think about ways on how we can improve that kind of services? You bet then like people went that out on the mall or some nanay on the mall, stuff like that. Or even with taxi, ayabachadod, or all issues with hotels and stuff like that.
Yeah, we went to visit my husband and I out in the Espresso. For sure, like there are some decisions that were made beforehand, but I can see that there's a lot of suffering. And when we were talking with the patients that were there, they were telling us about stuff that I just found really disturbing. And I know there'd probably be better options. Like when you look at Montreal, it's such a big island and we're surrounded by water. When I see, like, I don't understand this place was chosen, like maybe because they thought it was closer to the hospitals. But when I look at Eeyou Istchee, where they like to be is near water, like scenic, and like it'd be something that I would look into, other possibilities. And it is a hotel. That's what I saw. Like they are trying to make improvements, but in order to change that, they would need to do a lot more than that. I think there's a lot of good intentions. Like I saw the nutritionist went there to try to teach about healthy eating. We need a lot more than that. They need support. Some need their families because they're going to be there for a long time. I think it's going to be more places, not just the Espresso, because this trend, it's going to continue for a while before we stabilize. I don't think Espresso can meet all of our needs. I think we have to listen to the people that are there. That's their home. We have to listen to them. Just like, how you want your home, you want to be comfortable, you want to,
Feel home.
yeah. And it is a home away from their home, but and they try, like I noticed they do get together and there's a sense of community there, but they need more wraparound services around. And I'm sure there's different, like around even us, we could help them. Like they asked us to bring back Grand Prix next time we come there, and I was like, yeah, it's on my list for sure.
Grand Prix, like
Milk,
milk.
yeah. Like we were having tea there, and then they were like, we were looking for milk, and they said, we miss Grand Prix.
I don't know if they mentioned that the long-term patients got out on there. I believe 3 times a year they can come home, and to me that's. I think 8 months not enough. Like family market, I've seen posts from Utgeochido that they long for their family to visit even. How would you do that if?
Well, we do have like partnerships, right? We have Air Quebec, so we have a plane, and like in Geogmagai, My dad worked for ICEBG, CDBG. When I was younger, there was a plane for the workers, Montreal and back and forth in Gispiana, and we had a place there. And for George Gavijan, it was a big company, and there was a separate flight for staff and separate flight for commercial. So, there's ways that I think we could leverage that. Like, I think like this plane, they could maybe have a bit more. If there's seats available, that's what they're missing a lot, like their children. I saw moms there, and that was heartbreaking to hear, that somebody else is raising their children.
Still, I mean, questions. So,
I don't know if I for the employees when they travel south or anywhere for a work trip, they get a certain amount for the mileage, and if they choose to use their personal vehicle, and their meal claims. For the patients and the employees, there's a big gap for the amount, Like, I think supper for a patient is $20 from what I heard from somebody. For an employee, I think it's double, plus the incidental.
There is inequities. Like I see that, the policies that are made. For sure, for the patients, it's through the NIHB. There's the program, and the rates are super low.
Yeah, I think that rate is a couple of years behind, with today's inflation and everything.
Yeah. Like what they get, for sure. There's other venues we have to explore, like even health insurances, Like some are lucky because the Togoch salary insurance, because they've been sick for a while, long term. And this is where I think we could leverage, like, even they had this kitchenette over there, and somebody mentioned that there was a sale at Walmart and on potatoes, and Gamaji actually went to buy some. I observed a lot when I was there, and I thought, oh, wow, like we could probably, there is certain companies in our communities that are doing well that could help as well. And for the other one there, for the staff, even staff that are Cree, that are hired internally, and staff that are traveling, there's a different rate. There's two rates. It never made sense to me. That's where we have to have one rate. I don't understand why there's two. So when I talk about inequities, we need to look at it, the policies. Sometimes that's where they are, So I would look at somebody, an Indigenous person, and review all these policies, and are they really helping us? And make them more equitable for people.
I hit like healing programs. Mamaskat mamnitin that are more land based. I think I hit Cree Health Board recently purchased Mirage. Is that right?
Yes. So Mirage is it's actually not far from our campus, and it's a very strategic stop there, very scenic stop. It's getting older in age. Like, I think it was built a long time ago, but it is in an area that's accessible by road and by plane. I know they did some retreats there already, a detox, a men's retreat they are very needed. Like there's wonderful programs, but I think there's issues with accessibility. We saw on GBW, and there's such a huge need. So I would increase the accessibility, and with youth protection and GGI, social services, CMC, if they could work together with Nishiyu and identify the clients and prioritize by Danjin Maj, the and an ongoing, seasonal, not just but accessible to everyone. For sure, it's a small staff right now, but they really like it, the clients. So I think it's just increasing the accessibility to the. I don't know, Kai. Right now, there's people that are mining there too, but I think there's a plan eventually. There'll be us just die for Cree Helport.
Still no means our questions, sir.
Yeah, that's just it's been nice meeting.
My water, my coffee.
Oh, no
I'm getting
water in it.
thirsty.
Why shouldn't Dr. K water? Yeah, I mean water in the shower.
I shall don't know my water.
Do you want water in it?
Yeah, they're gonna hit water.
I guess just the final comments. Danske den här, danske dagen är hit. Ni ger to be honest, kind of me do hidan, but no jay. The stuff you talked about. It's just. It's same that but it's just danske dagen är hit. Just stuck with you. Just your final comments.
I know, it sometimes feels like we're in a perpetual crisis, one after another, but there's also a lot of goodness, and I see people helping each other. When I was in Naitwa we were down to one nurse. Red Cross didn't help us. Médecins Sans Frontières did not help us. I reached out to my colleagues, Holly, Virginia, and I reached out to them, and they lent me nurses because I was able through them to stabilize for a while until I came up with a plan, and so we had extra leaves for the nurses. We enhanced their environment. We changed the mattresses and Jigai. When I say we, it's the managers in Mokshto. We increased flights so that they could visit their family. We had security at work. And that gave me a lot of hope. That there's a program called Mokshto Retention Program. And I would like to see that at a larger scale in all Cree Help Board. And not just external, but general to have benefits. That people that work for Cree Help Board feel like, this organization is going to take care of me, but not just me, but my family. And will stay with us and grow with us and tell their children to come and work with us. And I think we can and I'm hopeful, and I think with your children, health is so important. When something happens, whatever your plan is, even when your child is sick, your mind is always on your child's hand. So with this, I hope people take into consideration, vote for the right person, and vote for not just for yourself, but your family and the future generations in mind.
Thank you. Good.
Asa he taista ashtagan folding ashtagan advance na asa digan
She's not high on,
November 5.
November.
but you still have another chance.
Next week, Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
12th.
Yeah,
November
and
12th.
and read it. Like I didn't cover everything, but it's all in the what they say the devil's in the details. So we do yaga so and Mutmatsin, like I said, is not something you do on your own. You bring people together and you work together, and that's how you achieve it.
Still any social media accounts where people can find your platform?
I think it's called Vote for Jeannie Pelletier. I have a team that's working with me. We have a Facebook, and I got into the follow like I do little updates there where I'm going. So the next place we're going is Nimska, East Main, and Womenji.
Okay, it says vote Jeannie Pelletier.
Yeah. So yeah, and my poster was made by a youth.
A youth?
And there is some people too that are really good writers but the three themes were inspired when I was working with a young girl named Kayla Spencer, and I was really surprised that how much she knew. Like I still work with PowerPoint, and she introduced me to a whole different world of Canvas, different things. Our youth, and that's what we need to leverage too. Yeah. And Jamaica got that opportunity to work with us.
Bombskeds a pumpkin hit. Madzui dens on as he seats some dog to get our members in Eeyou Istchee to go out and vote to get.
Yeah, I think we're at a crucial point. We can continue, and you'll probably, like, even if you vote me, there'll be parts where when you're changing something, you create a lot of chaos. But in the next 6 months, when we're a part of the Cree Help Board, there's 4 bold moves that I plan to make, and you will see those moves. The reason being is because and I want to turn this ship around. I don't want it to go further downstream. I want to bring it back, stabilize, and then turn it around where our people, like I said, we were born healthy. We can stay healthy. There's no reason why. And now is the bottom.
Yeah, you talked about a lot of good things.
I know, I'm so thirsty.
I think it's the
You all
first.
have drink.
I think it's the first time it biatut na us 3. Aga na siya.
Oh, that's
Yeah, wow.
thank you for your time, and I really think this is a good platform. We need our men too. We need our men to be healthy, and I wish you much success with this. And you're giving them a voice in this setting. It's really comfortable. I really feel comfortable here.
Yeah, sheet naskum nane di bezui de miatot.
Duasna di bosto haman. Just be the good channel the young kids there. Volleyball the medina. Volleyball tournament.
Yeah.
Duasna di dana di makhanan. But naskum nana edubej peanut. And like we said, you're our first female guest. We tried having the good stanan we shan't stop my just see it, but suggesting that you better with the mat. We dance it on the dance stuck Ash Nestano November 12th, Tuesdays with it. So make sure you go out and vote.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.